Hello guys. So today I'm talking about um, the control structure, which are if and switch in Java 17. So let's get started. So let's get started with if. So it is quite simple. If you have been programming for a while, you don't see any strange issue with if. So this is the basic form. So you have the conditional test here, and if it is true, then you can see the code here executed, and you can have else not greater than 5, something like that. And also if you have multiple conditions, more than 2, then you can have else if. So you can put it here, else if is equal 5, and finally else, then x is less than 5. So here we have x equal 10, but if I put 5 here, then x is equal 5 as you expected. In addition, you can remove these braces if there's only one line after the condition. So something like that, and it works just fine. But be careful, just if you have more than one line following the condition, then you need to wrap them into a brace. So let's consider this one equal 10, and so now you may expect that why this statement only execute when x is greater than 5, but actually it execute regardless. So let me why. So obviously x is not greater than 5 in this case because x equal 5, so this one will not be printed, but y is now 11, so be careful with this case. Next we are going to talk about the instance of operator. So usually you have something, you need to check the type of an instance. For example, we have car sequence. This is a string, and you may know that a string is a subclass of jar sequence. So your business logic may require a check like something like this: if instance of string, so then we need to cast string y, string y. But there's a structure called pattern matching that help you not have to do this cast. That is, put it string y here, and you can string y is a string, and it is perfectly okay. So I run this, and this is a string y is a string. Okay, so but what if you put an else here and you try to access string y? It is not available. So string y is available only when in this block, but only when this condition is evaluated to true. Okay, so for example, you have something like this. So for example, you want to check the string y is a string, and also length is greater than 5. So you can do this. Then this this program still compile, but if you put the or here, it will cause an error, because this, if y is not an instance of string, then this one string y is undefined. So you can do this. So there's a possibility that string y is undefined. So that's why the compiler will complain in this case. And that's it. That is about the if statement. Now I'm going to talk about the switch statement. So switch statement is a bit more interesting. So previously, in the old version of Java, probably before Java 14, you do switch like this. So let me put an example here, and everything worked just fine. So in the old days, you can just do this, and you cannot return a value from a switch statement. So yeah, and you have the default case here. So in this case, day of the week is 5, then it will go to default. And what if you don't have a default case? And it doesn't cause a compiler error, but nothing will be printed. So the default case is like a catch-all case for the switch statement. Default other day. There's a problem with this because if the case is 2, day of week is 2, then you see this one is printed, and also this one. Why? Because there's no break statement here. So if you don't have a break statement, then the following case will be executed too. So let me run this. And we have other day, of course, but change this to 2. And okay, you see that 2 lines are printed. So if you have multiple number that evaluate into one case, so you can do this. Case 3, case 4, like that. Multiple line. So if it is 1, then it will print Monday, of course, and obviously this is not correct in the sense of days of week, but the code still compile because we have multiple cases resulting in one branch here. So the next thing, that you can have a switch without any case inside, but a switch must have this parentheses and this brace. So without it, it will not compile. So next, we're talking about what kind of value can you put here. Day of week take. So there's some limitation. You probably need to remember this. So you have, let me see. Well, we have char, byte, short, int, and the wrapper classes. Char character, byte, short, integer, string, and enum. Okay. So for example, I have car d1, short s2 2 int 3 3, and you can put them here without any problem. Okay, string and enum. We have an enum here. So I can put an enum here. Switch. So I can put E1 here, just fine. So remember, car, short, and int, and the wrapper class, and classes, and string, and enum. Other types would not be acceptable. For example, you have, let's see, so for example, list X. So you cannot put X here. That will not be valid. Next, we're talking about switch expression. So this is an enhancement to the switch statement, because we now can have a return value using the switch. So let me demonstrate the switch statement. So still a switch expression. So for example, equal switch type week, and have case 1 return Monday, and default other day, and you have to put a semicolon here. So at the end of each case here, you have a semicolon, and after the closing brace, you need to have a semicolon. So this is a switch expression. So when you have multiple condition, multiple case return the same value, you can separate with comma, something like that. And this is called let me see, this is called a case this is called a case expression. So the other thing, you can have a case block. So for example, S5, you have multiple lines with complex logic, for example, then you do this. And since this case return value, then you need to return a value in every case, or throw an exception. So here I can throw an exception here, and it worked just fine. But in case you want to return a value, so you don't use return, but you yield, something like that. I know for Thursday, probably. And that's it. And there's a suggestion to unwrap and do this, but I was demonstrating the use of case block. So for example, is Thursday. Yeah, something like that. Yep. So when you are not assigning the return value of a switch to a value to a variable. So let me do this. Then you need to this thing need to not return a value, because this is not a valid expression. So for example, this is equivalent to you put something like that. It is not a valid expression, you need to assign it. And if you don't want to, then this thing need to return void. So for example, I do this Monday, something like that, and you don't yield here. And in such case, you don't need to cover every possible values. You don't have to have default like that. But when you return a value, you need to cover every possible value of the value in case. So for example, I put back var here. So if I don't have default here, the compiler will complain that switch expression does not cover all possible input value. So if you use enum instead, so this enum I have here, which I have only days, I have 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. So if I put it here, so day week, days, day of week, enum, day, Monday. Okay, so for example, we have days, week, enum, and since it has only 2 values, so Monday and this is Tuesday, I guess, then all possible values are covered, so we don't need a default. And if I put a default here, I guess that the compiler would not complain, but say that this is redundant. Yeah, you see that this is grayed out here, and it's not unnecessary. Yep, so that's it. All I want to talk about if and switch in this video. Hope that is helpful, and see you in the next video.